Hey, what's going on everyone? It's Yo with Apex Wheels. We are back in the studio today. We've got a C6 Z06 on the lift and our new SM10 RS wheels. We're gonna talk about some of the intricacies with running an 18x12 fitment up front and an 18x13 fitment in the rear. We've got some really beefy tires up here, so let's go check it out and get to work. Let's start in the rear of the car. We are running an 18x13 ET56 with a Nankang AR1 tire in a 335/30/18. We are talking about some meaty boys in the back. With the fitment, there's not too much that we're concerned about here. We need to run some negative camber on these Corvettes. They are a double wishbone setup, so you have an upper and lower control arm. The upper is controlled by some shims, so you can remove or add shims to dial in your negative camber from the top. And then the lower, you can again dial in more track width and more negative camber, depending on where you want to be. Other implications back here, this car's on coilovers, so you get less droop, and because of that, you don't have to worry about the barrel of the wheel resting on that upper control arm. If you're on OE suspension, higher ride height, you may have to consider lowering the vehicle just because of that upper control arm to barrel clearance. So we're gonna take the wheel off and I'll point out a couple of things that you'll wanna take a look at. I just want to show you guys how big a 335 tire is. I mean, I don't have the biggest hands, but we're talking two of my hands here. Like meaty boys, guys, meaty boys. All right, with the wheel off now, we can kind of take a look at what I was talking about, some of the concerns back here. Again, your upper control arm, which controls camber, these shims in the back here. So you'll actually pull shims to get more negative camber. The droop I was talking about, the barrel sits over the upper control arm right around here. So if you have more suspension travel, you actually may have some interference here. So actually having less suspension travel keeps the arm up and out of the way of that barrel. So that's really all you're looking at in the back. Most of the liners and things like that can remain in place. Pretty simple to fit a nice big 18x13 and a 335 tire in the rear of a C6 Z06. Okay, onto the front now. 18x12 ET47, Nankang AR1 again, a 315/30 R18. You Corvette boys do not play around. That is larger than the rear tire on most of my vehicles as well. So we are talking a big setup up front, a lot of turn in, a lot of front end grip. Yeah, y'all are not playing around. Implications up front, again, we are looking at a more performance oriented, almost a track dedicated type of setup. So at full lock, you will not be able to go full lock on these. Pushing this to all the way to the right, you'll have interference with the upper control arm or any type of brake ducts you may be running, brake cooling ducts. I can see Glendon's car here has some brake cooling ducts that are getting interfered with the barrel. Again, that is at full lock, so you'll want to, have some type of steering limiter or just keep in mind that you don't want to be doing that. And then also you're talking about a little bit of interference with the fender liners. Again, these can be massaged away or even cut away, depending on where you're having that rubbing under compression. Same thing when you turn full left. Rear liner is going to be mostly okay up until you get up towards this middle section. You might have some rub there, but the control arm again is the issue. The barrel can interfere with that upper control arm at full lock. So again, you want to limit that steering angle and not do full lock. So again, not really a street friendly setup. Of course, you can run this on the street. You just have to be concerned about that steering angle. So let me take off the wheel and we'll talk a little bit more about where you dial in camber on these cars up front. All right, with that front tire off, we can take a look at the front suspension. Again, coilover setup, double wishbone, so same thing as in the rear. Front's upper control arms have shims to dial in that camber. Also in the lower control arm, you've got an eccentric bolt. Basically the same thing as the rears to dial in, 2.5 to 3 degrees of camber. You definitely want that to get the most out of your front tire setup. But that's about it. Implications with the fender liners around here and in the front about here. Hope you guys enjoyed that footage of our new SM10 RS wheels on this beautiful C6 Z06. Hope you guys learned something about fitting a meaty tire setup on these C6s. If you guys need more detailed information, make sure to check out the fitment guide on our website. And as always, you guys can just give us a ring or shoot us an email if you guys have more questions. Until next time, I'll see you guys later.